Okay. I'm going to give it a minute to see if anybody pops on. If not, I am just going to talk to myself because I didn't have time to film today, guys. And my hair is like so staticky. I might have to do... Yeah, I couldn't decide what I wanted to talk about today. So I have a couple of different things that were bouncing around in my head. And I decided it would be easier just to have a chat. I wanted to kind of talk about the energies first and see what other people are dealing with, because it's been a rough couple of days for me. And I mentioned, because I kind of expected some of this. It's happening sooner than I thought, though. So I feel like the eclipse stuff is already starting. And I don't really follow much of the other astrologers. Like, I try not to, so it doesn't influence what I tell you guys. But I knew the eclipse was going to hit me. I knew it was going to hit me. It was probably going to hit me hard. I hate to like self-manifest it. Look at this. What is my hair doing? I didn't want to self-manifest it. But I had a suspicion that it was going to hit me. And yeah, I've been crying on and off for the last couple of days too. Yep. I was coming home from dinner last night with a girlfriend, and out of the blue, a song came on that totally triggered me over something I wasn't expecting. And I started crying, really bad crying. So I ended up driving. There's a beach near my house. It's not a super nice beach. It's like a park beach, city beach. A lot of people don't go swimming there. But it is the ocean. And there's a park there. So I ended up driving right to the ocean and just sitting for like 20 minutes. And I had like a sundress on. And I had like a shawl, and it was freezing. It was like 58 degrees, but I just had to go to the ocean. I just had to sit there and ground and chill, because there's something going on energetically, and it's not pleasant. It's not. So I was supposed to have a workshop last night, and that got canceled. And I had a couple of different plans going on today, and that stuff got shuffled around and then canceled. Oh no. Yeah, it's pretty warm here still. Sorry, Kristen. I hope she's okay. That's awful. I know she's your younger one, right? The one you've mentioned to me before. I'm assuming, because of what you just said happened. So I'm drinking tea today. I'm going to share with you my cup. This is that coffee mug you guys have seen a few times. It says cats, crystals, and coffee. It's a super thick, super sturdy. And I have a code for you guys, which I will put in the description box when I am all done the video. I always beat the crap out of this poor company's name. It's not Mercari. It's Meraki, I think is how to say it. Daydream. And I have a 10% code off for you guys if you choose to shop on their website and buy anything that they are offering. Yeah, I figured, Kristen. So I made myself some honey lavender tea because I've just been in a mood. I've been checking in with friends and people that I know have been going through a little bit, but it seems to be hitting me harder than I was prepared for yet. So I wanted to talk about a couple of things. Today I ended up forcing myself to get out of the house, and I went to Dollar Tree in Big Lots. I went and bought a candle at Big Lots, and because money's tight, but I need candles. And I was looking at Dollar Tree. I couldn't believe, this is part of the chat, part of my rant. I could not believe, because I have not been in Dollar Tree since the summer. I only go for certain stuff, so I don't go all the time. And I haven't been since the summer. And the Dollar Tree I went to today literally was almost sold out of everything Halloween already. And it's all Christmas stuff already. I was like, really? It's like 2 weeks. Yeah, they have raised the prices. It's $1.25 now. I bought like 6 things and it was almost $10. I bought like a few more head wraps. I wanted to share this. I bought a cinnamon broom, which I will talk about, and it actually smells really, really good. I'll talk about that in a minute. But I was hoping to get like a black candles, because on Halloween, I celebrate Samhain, which is spelled Samhain, but pronounced Samhain. And I we'll have what's called a a dumb supper, where it's a silent dinner that you make for your past loved ones, and you serve it literally in the dark. You do it by candlelight, usually by black candles, but I didn't find any at Dollar Tree today, so it looks like I'm probably not going to be using black candles this year. I was surprised at how they had nothing Halloween themed already. I was so frustrated with that. And it's a really nice like way to honor your ancestors and people that you love that have passed away. You set a table for a seat for them. You serve them the food. You buy alcohol or whatever beverages they would prefer. So I have a couple of different people that I purchase spirits for. I usually buy Fireball for my past uncle, a shot of Fireball. I usually buy a can of Bud Light for my friend Dave, who passed away. And then I pour a glass of wine for like all my other ancestors because I have quite a few that have passed at this point. So I usually like to start prepping for that now. And so when I got to Dollar Tree, I was bummed out that there was like nothing that I wanted there. I'm not ready for Christmas time. I'm not shopping for Christmas yet. It's way too early. I'm boycotting that. So yeah, they had these cinnamon, they're little ones. I've seen big ones, but they had these, which were cute. So I bought a bunch of them. I have one hanging on both of my doors to my entrances, another one in another spot in the house. And they actually have magical purposes. Cinnamon is protecting, and you can sweep. I mean, these are really little, but you can sweep like your doorway or your windows, and it can protect, or leave it by your door to protect the energy and remove things that are no longer wanted in your home. Oh, yeah. So it's called Samhain. It's a pagan holiday. I've been doing it for a few years now. I don't hand out candy. My neighborhood I started doing it right before the lockdown of COVID. So I really I keep all my lights off on Halloween. I don't hand out candy. I'm kind of like the Grinch when it comes to Halloween, as far as like mainstream Halloween, because I celebrate it my way. And I don't want people knocking on my door and interrupting me with my time with my ancestors. I sit and I'm quiet and I have conversations with them, and I call them in. And I enjoy their company. So that's like a private time for me. Usually after I do that, I end up doing some kind of spell work too, to honor them. So that's something that's coming up. And I was thinking of doing like a whole video about that, but there's really not much to it. As far as what I do, it's a day that it's very similar to Day of the Dead, and the Mexican Day of the Dead, or All Saints Day, I think, is the other one. And it's just because around this time of year, some people say it's not true, some people say it is true. So to each their own. But there's a reason why it's All Hallows Eve. And so you have more of an opportunity to connect with your past loved ones at that time. So I use that as like my personal time. I've always loved Halloween. Since I was very, very little, I've always loved Halloween more than Christmas often. And it's just turned into its own special little thing. So there's that. And then, I taught a workshop last Tuesday, not yesterday, a week ago yesterday. And it went so well. It was at a local salt cave. I've mentioned it a few times on here, that I was excited about it. And I ended up teaching about how to, for people that were beginners, how to read oracle cards, how to tap into what kind of intuition you have, what is your strongest one, what are the ways to approach it, different tips and tricks and frequently asked questions that people may not realize about it. And I did want to touch upon something that came up in that class. I wanted to share it with you guys. Eventually, I plan on doing classes on here. I haven't had time to think about exactly how I'm going to do it or what, but I think I'm going to do maybe modules per topic and film short 15, 20-minute videos. And they'll be private, and if people buy a package of whatever the topic is, then you'll get those links. And then at the end of the workshop, we'll have a one-on-one session or something is what I'm thinking. And you'll have interactive stuff to do. Because I have all this material that I put together that I feel would benefit everybody, even my audience on YouTube, but how? Because we're doing it in person, right? So I was thinking we can try to find a way to do it over the internet. I'm not sick. I have allergies. I was outside bringing in, I don't want to make you guys dizzy. I have a fireplace behind me. It's not set up going yet, but there's wood down here right behind me in the corner over here. I have to fill that whole rack up, and I usually go through that wood when I'm burning wood, like actually burning wood. I go through like that rack in like 3 days, usually. It's not too cold here yet, so it's probably like, I think it got to like 65 here today, but the house doesn't warm up because it's not hot out. So the inside of the house stays cold, and then it gets cold at night. So the heating cost here has gone up tremendously. There was a new utilities company that bought out. It's in Rhode Island. We only have one. It's a monopoly, and they're the ones that run the electric and the gas companies. And I have gas heat and electricity, of course. So, and both of them, one of them went up 50% or $50 a month, and they were already like over $100 a month as it was. And then another one went up 15%. Oh, wow. Huh. It's cold down there then, huh? It's not cold here yet. Not today. It's been cold on and off, but not today. So I'm starting to like prep for the winter to start bringing in, because it's going to start getting colder each night as each night goes by. So I have to fill up a whole wheelbarrow and tote it all in and put it in here. And the wood that I have is a couple of years old because I hurt my shoulder one year, and then last year it really wasn't that cold. So I haven't, the wood is old. It'll burn fine, but it has a lot of bugs in it because it's been outside. So now I'm having to like bang out each individual piece of wood, knock all the gross bugs out because I don't want them to come into my house, and then I can stack them in my house. Oh, yeah, we haven't had freeze warnings yet. That's weird. That's weird that you're having freeze warnings when I'm further north than you. Strange. This country, the weather is odd. So the thing I wanted to bring up, so the workshop I didn't get to do today was called, yesterday, I'm sorry, it was called Self-Love and, sorry, I'm all like twisted up in something. So I'm just holding a crystal to ground myself. Self-love and manifesting your soulmate. And because I was collaborating with this group of people, I kind of had to do what they wanted me to do, which I can totally do all of those things. But I wanted, that's really like 3 separate workshops. Working on self-love and the blocks around self-love and how it gets in the way of manifestation. That's kind of a thing, a clumped one kind of concept. Then the concept of manifesting what you want in general, because the approach is mostly similar depending on what the topic is. And then a concept of calling in your person. I'm not a big fan of the soulmate term. Soulmates, twin flames. Someday I'll tell my twin flame story. But I hate labels. I hate labels because labels are what mainstream have put on things. And what a soulmate means to me might mean something different to you. It's not the same thing. I'll get clients that come to me that ask me if they're ever going to meet their soulmate. Well, my definition of soulmate is somebody that your soul recognizes and is comfortable with. And it's easy. That doesn't mean it's a soulmate that you're going to marry. It doesn't mean it's a romantic soulmate. I have multiple people in my life that are soulmates that are platonic friends, or somebody that once was a romantic partner and now is a friend. My cat is my soulmate. Like, so, and we don't have just one chance at being happy with that. So that label really annoys me because people get so fixated on it. And this is why I don't like labels, because we get so stuck in the, well, this is what it's called. It must be, this is what it is. We get so stuck in that we're searching for something that maybe that's not what we're supposed to do. Like a lot of people don't get married to their soulmate. Some people do, some people don't. It really depends. And I kind of feel the same way about twin flames. Twin flames are like soulmates on crack because they're very big in the mainstream now. They weren't when I first learned about twin flames. It was like 2015. Very few people talked about it, and I stayed. And I'll tell my whole story another time. I stayed in a relationship that I thought was my twin flame. And it was an extremely toxic relationship. And I stayed in it because I explained it away. Well, people don't understand. That's my twin flame. And it turns out the person was just what people would call a false flame and was a severe narcissist. And I'll tell the story another time. But this is the danger of putting labels on stuff because, well, I put a label on it and this is my personal experience that it happened to. I put a label on that, so I need to stick it out. If I hadn't put that label, I would have left a long time ago. And the reason why I put a label was because there were certain things that I couldn't explain that I didn't understand. And that was right when I learned about the twin flame thing. So I was like, oh, it must have been, that person must be my twin flame. No, it wasn't. So yeah, I'll tell that story another day. Anyway, so the question that came up at this workshop that I did, the Oracle card reading workshop, I wanted to share it with you guys because it was a really valid question. And the funny thing about it was the one question. And I'm telling you, I prepared like a teacher that was being observed for her evaluation. Like I had so much material that I could have taught for 4 hours. I was ready. And then somebody asked me a question that I hadn't thought of. And that's what happens when you're a teacher. Like you can't prepare for every single thing that can possibly happen. It's just not humanly possible. So one of the students, we were talking about doing readings, and we were talking about, we were at the part in the class where we were talking about how to start a reading, like how to cleanse the cards, how to cleanse the space, how to connect with your guides, if you're reading for somebody, with your clients' guides. So we were talking about that kind of concept. And one of the clients, and she had every right to ask this. Like this is not a bad question. This is actually a very excellent question. Said to me, because she was talking about pendulums, which is, if you guys don't know what that is, it's something that swings, and it's kind of like, it's another form of divination. And she mentioned, how do you know? Like, how do you know that you're talking to your guides? How do you know? Like, how do I know it's safe? The question was basically, how do I know it's safe? Because she mentioned having a bad experience before, and she didn't really go into detail, and I didn't have time to ask her, so I'm not sure what her experience was, but she said something about, and I don't believe it was about Oracle cards. She said something about having a bad experience, and how do you know it's safe? Because you don't know who you're talking to, which is a very valid question. And it really whacked me because my girlfriend, Jen, who I haven't really mentioned very much, she's a professional photographer. I've mentioned her a couple of times. She lives in Maine. On my Instagram, if you follow Jen's photography, Jen Egan's photography, something like that, that's her professional page. So her and I see these negative entities as very different. We see them very differently, and we grew up very similarly. But I see them, we disagree with things. We disagree with the concepts of portals. We disagree with the concepts of demons or negative entities. We disagree. And it's because our experiences have been different. So as a teacher, as a coach, as a reader, as a human being, I was that person who always was told, like when I was young, that my experience wasn't what it was. That's not true. You're just over exaggerating. That's not real. Like it was very like pushed off or minimized. And so often my feelings of what my intuition would say or my emotions would say, I'd end up questioning it because I was kind of shoved to the side about it. And I'm not going to say who made me feel that way or not. Like it was just a general thing I recall from childhood. And I hate to do that to people. Like that's one thing that I've always promised myself as a teacher, even when I was just a teacher, to never minimize a person's experience, because to them, it's important. It might seem silly or confusing or nonsense or just trivial to me, but it's important to the person, and that needs to be honored. So I've always approached readings and working with students and clients with that attitude. And so when I had to answer this question to this student about how do you know, I wanted to say to her, it's very rare to deal with this, and I don't believe in it. And I had to really check myself and try to reword how I was going to say it, because my personal experience has been that I've never dealt with any of those kinds of entities. Never. I've never dealt with a dark entity, a demonic entity. I've never known anybody who's really personally dealt with that. I just haven't. It hasn't been my experience. And I can't tell you why. My friend Jen's theory is that, and it's such a silly comparison, but that similar to Bella from Twilight, who's a shield, a natural shield, that I just have such a shield around me naturally without even realizing it, that I don't pick up on things like that. And that's very possible. I don't know the reason. I can't tell you, but I mean, I've been to some really horrible places, really heavy energy. Like there's this place called Ladd School. I recommend you guys look it up if you have a chance. LADD School in Exeter, Rhode Island. And it doesn't exist anymore. It was one of those institutions that they used to put people with any kind of disability into. And that was the institution that took place that existed in Rhode Island. And they didn't shut it down until 1994. And when I want to say in 2001, 2002, a good friend of mine they had renovated some of the buildings on that campus because it's sort of set up like a college campus. A good friend of mine was working in one of the buildings as like a drug rehabilitator, overnight person that he would watch addicts overnight to make sure they don't overdose or they don't kill themselves or whatever. And there was always something creepy that was happening in that building. There'd be little men, they'd wake up and there's a man standing at the end of the bed, and there was tons of stuff that happened, tons of spiritual, supernatural activity that happened there. And since I was a child, I've always wanted to experience supernatural stuff. And I have a little bit, but I always want to go to places like that. Frozen. Let's see if my thing drops. Okay. I've always wanted to go to places like that. So he took me and we walked around the campus. And if I was going to experience something bad, I was literally 19 years old, completely open, didn't know about protecting myself spiritually wise, didn't know about any kind of crystals or spells, or I didn't know anything. I was so new to everything. And I just wanted to experience it. I wasn't scared. I was fascinated. So we went there, and a lot of bad stuff happened on that campus. People were killed. People were raped. They weren't taken care of. There was just a lot of bad shit that happened there. So if I was going to experience something dark, it would have been there. It would have been there. That property was known for it. People experienced stuff on that property, and I never did. So my personal experience doesn't negate that woman's experience, though. Just because I've never experienced that doesn't mean she won't. Doesn't mean she can't. My personal philosophy has been, and I don't know how real this is. I got this from my guides, and, the only way to test it out is by people trying it and telling me what happens to them. But my personal philosophy has always been, if you fear negative energy, if you put that fear out there, if you're fear-based, I'm afraid to go here because I don't want an entity to latch onto me. I'm afraid to do this because it could be a bad energy. I'm afraid to do my pendulum because I don't know who I'm talking to. If you put fear out, that is like your immune system being weakened as a person. If your immune system is weakened, you're going to catch a cold. If you're constantly living in fear-based, yeah, you might attract something that's a lower vibration because you're scared. I've never been scared. I've never been scared of it. Not of that. I've been scared of stuff in my life, but not of spirit. Never of spirit. Not of entities. Nothing. So is that why I don't have those kinds of bad experiences? I don't know. But what I can tell you is I haven't had that experience. So what I ended up telling her was, This is why, and I did say to her, it's never happened to me, but that doesn't mean it won't happen to you. So I don't want you to just go about life thinking that you're fine. This is so to avoid the whole point of this, like I'm kind of circling around and around. My medication, my focus medication wore off a little while ago. This is why when we're connecting with tarot or oracle, which was the tool I was using at the time, any kind of divination, any kind, runes, pendulum, spirit board. What else is there? There's all kinds of stuff. Why am I not thinking of anything else right now? I don't know. I'm having a brain fart. I'm tired. Any kind of divination that you would use, any kind of cards, Lenormand cards, throwing bones, whatever. Before you start that, you make sure your space is cleansed and you call in your specific team, whoever you connect with. So like if you're not into God, don't call God in. If you're into universe, if you're into source, if you're into the angels, if you're not into the angels, call in who you connect with. Gods, goddesses, angels, archangels, ancestors. Some people don't want to call in their ancestors because their ancestors might be pissed that they're doing divination. It really depends. And it's unique for each person. But that's why we call in a specific type of energy and we put out there that it's high vibration. Because if we are putting out that it is, if we don't specify that, yeah, you don't know who you're going to get. You don't know who you're going to get. It's very possible you could end up getting somebody that you weren't trying to connect with. It's possible. I'm not saying it's impossible. But I wanted to cover that on here because I thought it was a really great question. And I thought it was important for everybody out, like in my community, to be aware of. Because protection is great, but your number one protection is your own energy, is your own team, when you do readings, you're tapping into something. And what you're tapping into is your intuition and your guides. Whoever your guides are, everybody has different guides. I can't tell you who your guides are. I have a few angels, archangels really, that I work with. My nose is itchy. I have several goddesses that I work with that have brought themselves to me. It wasn't a coincidence. It wasn't just like one day I woke up and was like, oh, I'm going to work with Hecate. I actually don't work with Hecate because she's never brought herself to me. So for me, when it comes to deities, I work with the ones that I feel drawn to. And I don't usually work with the ones that I don't have a connection with, because it's kind of like asking a stranger for a favor. If you don't have a relationship with them, you probably shouldn't be working with them. At least that's been my personal opinion. I can't say if that was wrong or right, and you also should be doing your research if you're working with an entity, because a deity, really, because you don't want to insult them. Some of them get mad about stuff you wouldn't even expect if you don't do your homework. So that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about on here today. Yeah, I wanted to talk about how I was disappointed that we're already in Christmas in some of the stores, and it's not even the week of Halloween yet. It's 2 weeks before Halloween. And I had wanted to go and get a couple of things. All I got was this. And this isn't even really a Halloween thing. This is more a fall Christmas thing. Scented cinnamon things. Hey, I'm actually starting to wrap up. My thing is not right. It says 0 people are watching, but there's 2 of you talking. So there's at least 2 people on here. I can't trust the counter. I can't trust it. So yeah, that was it. I just wanted to chat a little bit about, yes, I am. I will save this. Yep. I've never intentionally not saved any of my lives. I've never done it on purpose. Yeah. Look, the 3D right now, the 3D is funky. We're all excited because we're out of Mercury retrograde, but it could even be today. I'm not sure which day off of the top of my head. Saturn's coming out of retrograde in a day or 2. You're very welcome, Tiberius. And then the end of the month, Mars goes retrograde. And Mars, and I mentioned this in my monthly astrology. I haven't mentioned it again since then. When Mars goes retrograde, it packs a punch because It only goes retrograde once every, I think it's 2 years. I could be wrong. I can't, I didn't research it right now. Like, I don't have my notes off the top of my head. I haven't memorized everything. I'm still working on it. Yeah, October struggles for sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. Absolutely. I'm planning on going in the state I live in. There is a zoo, and the zoo every year does a Halloween themed thing. They do this pumpkin, what is it called? Jack-o'-lanterns of light? I can't, spooktacular? I can't remember what the hell they call it, but they carve pumpkins, and it's like a lot. It's like thousands and thousands of pumpkins. And it's like a trail where you can walk through, and they play music at night, and it's cool. It's pretty. I went years ago, years and years. I mean, at least 10 years ago, if not more than that, because we took one of my cousin's daughter. And she's now like 20. So it's probably, maybe it's been 20 years. She's older. Yeah. So it's been a while. But my friend Jen, who I mentioned, who lives in Maine, is going to be coming down anyway. So we're going to go check that out. So I might take a little bit of video and like cut it up and put it in reels or on my Instagram, or maybe post a little short one so you guys can see what it looks like. Because it is cool. It's a cool experience. Bootacular. That's cute. It might be called spooktacular. I don't remember what it's called. But yeah, and she's my oldest friend. I've been friends with her since high school, and we don't get to see each other a ton because she lives in Maine. And I mean, she's not that far away, but it's just life gets in the way. We both have our own businesses, and it's hard. Yeah, I haven't done it in years, and she's a professional photographer, so she really wants to try to get the pictures. So I'll probably minimally take some pictures and put it on my Instagram, but I might do more than that. So that's something to look forward to this weekend. So I'm probably going to do the astrology tarot video Saturday. I don't know. You guys, I'll put up a vote so that more people can comment. If you guys are on the replay, feel free to comment in the replay. I want feedback about whether you guys prefer the live astrology tarot or the recorded one, because now you've seen it both ways. Which one is better? It's probably better when you catch it live, but I am curious about if it's enjoyable to watch when you're catching it on the replay. You like the live? Okay. Oh, that's really cool, Tiberius. A 5-mile hike lined with jack-o'-lanterns. That's pretty. Oh my God. Like I said, I'm definitely a spooky season girl. Like I love the lights, and I love the decorations, and I did just watch Hocus Pocus 2. I'm not going to spoil it for anybody. I enjoyed it. Not as amazing as the original, but still some really awesome parts. And the girl that plays, what I can say is at the very beginning, they start with Winnie, Sarah, and Mary as being young. They're like preteen. And I'm not going to tell anything about what happens, but the actress, the young girl that plays preteen Winnie, oh, she's got that character down. That girl she's good. I was like, wow, I was blown away. She was good. So, but yeah, that's about it for now. So I'll probably do a live on Saturday. I should have time for that. I'm planning my next workshop. I am teaching next Tuesday in Rhode Island, and it is astrology, very beginner, very, very, very beginner. Because you guys know I'm not an astrologer, but everybody has to start somewhere, right? So like when you're a beginner for astrology, there's so much, it feels so overwhelming. Like, where do you begin? And I've been working with astrology and learning astrology, I'd have to say at least 10 years now, but like really diving deep, at least the last like 5 or 6 years. And there's still so much I don't know. There's so much I don't have memorized. Like there's a lot I don't have memorized that I still look up in the book. But like the very basics, like what's most important to know about astrology is to know the zodiacs, the planets, like the energies behind them, the zodiacs, the planets, the houses, and really that's pretty much it. And knowing your rising sign, what your rising sign is, what it means, and how how that'll be. Are you Aquarius sun or Aquarius rising? I tend to, for some reason, make really good friends with the fire signs. I don't know what it is. I have a lot of friends in Leo. So many. My friend Dave that passed away was a Leo. My brother's a Leo. I have a cousin that's a Leo. I have several other friends that are Leos. Like, I just seem to like find Leos and Aries too. Not many Sagittariuses, but Aries. I hit it off with Aries like it's yes, you're Aquarius rising. My friend Jen is an Aquarius. I can't remember what her rising is. You'd think I'd remember that. My rising is Capricorn, so I'm pretty like, that's part of where the brutal truth comes from me, because I don't like mincing words. I don't like lies. I don't like deceit. That's where my transparency comes from. And I prefer somebody being blunt and honest with me, no matter what the situation is. And it could hurt. I'm not saying it wouldn't hurt me, but I respect it so much more than somebody lying. Like, if somebody's not into something and they just go along with it and they don't tell me they don't want to do it, or like, because then I can feel it. I can feel something's off. I can always feel when something's off, especially if I'm spending time with people, friends, family, relationships, coworkers, whatever. I can feel it. Something's always off. So I'd rather know. Oh, yeah. Yeah, makes sense. All right. Well, I'm going to hop off because I can't really think of anything else to mention right now. Just hang in there, guard your energies, do some sage or sage. I don't love sage. Do some incense, Palo Santo, essential oils, something like that. Clear your space out. Open the windows, maybe use Florida water, make some tea. Get your feet on the ground, even if it's cold. If you find yourself having a hard time, get outside somehow. Drink a lot of water. Water is your best friend. I have some bath bombs from Wild Ray, which I've mentioned multiple times on this channel. She's a good friend of mine who lives in Colorado, who makes like organic bath products. And she had done a special sale. They were called Misfits or something. So it was like soaps and bath bombs and stuff that were not perfect, but so what? Like, they weren't perfect because they didn't look right. Like, she couldn't sell them because they looked funny. They still wash. They still do the job. So they were like half off or something. So I have a few. I stocked up on some, and I'm probably going to take a bath tonight and just chill. I need to work, but maybe I'll take a bath right before I go to bed because I'm tired. I was going to go away for my birthday. Jen and I were talking about maybe going to a spa because I've never been to one and I like that kind of stuff. It's like a treat. It's something different. So we might do that. We're looking at different spas to go away to, and I would probably be off grid for a few days if that happens because I'm not going to work on my birthday. I'm turning 40. You only turn 40 once. And the way my family's set up right now, a party isn't really doable. And I don't care. Like, I'm not complaining about that because my family's going through a lot and a party is not important. My family being happy and healthy is what's important. Oh, Scorpio rising. I'm a Scorpio, not Scorpio rising. I don't know any Scorpio risings, I don't think. Rising is hard because you have to know the exact birth time and birth place. Birth time is the one that most people have trouble finding. But if you're ever confused and you don't know how to get it, you can always, some people it's on their birth certificate. I have a friend that looked his up on his birth certificate. And then some people, you can just call the hospital that you were born at and they should tell you. I haven't looked at my birth certificate, so I'm not sure if it's on there. I haven't even checked. I should probably check because who knows? Maybe my time isn't right. My time is by what my mother remembered. And seriously, if it's off just by an hour, your rising is all different. Your houses are different. There's a lot that changes if it's off just by an hour. So that's why it's so important. Big chunks of your chart get screwed up that way. So, all right, friends, it's been fun chatting. A low-key, mellow Wednesday. I will definitely save this. If you're watching this on the replay, comment down below. I will add my Mercari whatever code website that you guys can check it out for 10% off if you want it. They really do. I mean, I've had this cup I'm pretty hard on coffee cups. And I've had this one for quite a while. I don't use it all the time. I have other ones, but it's sturdy. I haven't broke it. I haven't cracked it. It washes in the dishwasher and the print doesn't come off. Every time I use it, it goes in the dishwasher. So that's a plus. I like stuff that you don't have to wash by hand because then it just sits on the counter for days, maybe even weeks, depending on what it is. All right, guys, I'll see you all later. Comment down below if you're watching the replay, and I will probably catch you guys on Saturday. You're going to get a flip through Friday too. I did a flip through of those German tarot cards that I got in that I mentioned on a different video. So you'll have that on flip through Friday. So Saturday, I'll probably be on. So make sure you're keeping an eye out on Saturday. It'll probably be in the afternoon because I hate doing this in the dark, but the day gets away from me. So, okay, I'll talk to you guys and have an awesome few days and hang in there with that Scorpio eclipse energy. Bye for now.